What up, fam? This is Danielle, aka the Dannielle J, and you are now tuned into Donuts, Coffee, and Tech, your favorite place for tech insiders on all things technology. I am so excited for season 5 of Donuts, Coffee, and Tech. You have no idea. First and foremost, thank you to everybody who's been rocking with Donuts, Coffee, and Tech since the very beginning. It's been kind of rough around the edges for a long time, and y'all stuck it out with me, and I'm just so grateful for you all, the community, the fam. So thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I just want to make sure that I get that up front because it's not often that you find a community like the fam. You all keep me very honest. You all are so great about input about what you need to know about, and you have trusted me with your tech news and updates for many years now, and I really do consider you my family, my online family, so I appreciate you all for all of the support and all the love throughout all the years. So I just wanted to start the season off strong. Let folks know. And if you're not already a part of the fam, make sure that you connect with Donuts, Coffee, and Tech wherever you're listening to this podcast, or you go over to Instagram. The Dannielle J is my personal Instagram where you can connect with other people who are involved with the fam. And I also have a Discord, a couple other ways to connect, but let's just keep it real simple. YouTube, The Dannielle J, Instagram, The Dannielle J, and then Donuts, Coffee, and Tech wherever you're listening to your podcast, right? So, all right. New season, who dis? We are getting into some really good things, and I'm switching up the formatting just because it makes sense to kind of break it down a little bit better. And we can cover a couple more things. Okay? Like, I want to talk to y'all about a few things at a time, and y'all know, if you follow me on Instagram, I really do like going into the meat and potatoes of things, so this is a great platform to be able to do that on. So let's get into our first segment, which is Explained by Dannielle. So, this whole segment is dedicated to myths debunked. And there are a lot of things out there, and you all know I love a good myth because I am going to go find out what the heck it is. What does it actually mean? How can I serve it up to the fam so that you all can be more empowered and know what's going on? So, the first thing that we're going to talk about in Dannielle Explains, or Explained by Dannielle, I'm working on that. Let me know which one sounds better to you. But we're going to talk about shadow banning because I hear a lot of people talk about shadow banning. And I want to talk about it specifically on Instagram because this is a platform that I use a lot. And I see a lot of people on Instagram talking about, oh, well, I've been shadow banned. That's why nobody's seeing my content. All right, boom. Instagram posted, I don't know, maybe like a year ago, that shadow banning does not exist, right? So, my official stance, shadow banning does not exist, right? But the curious thing is what actually happens when you notice that your videos aren't being seen as often, when you notice that things that would typically be trending with your audience isn't trending anymore. What is actually happening if it's not shadow banning, right? And for those who are new and are like, what the heck is a shadow ban? The real short or bridge version or definition of shadow banning is basically where you are unknowingly taken out of the algorithm, so the people who would normally find your page do not find it anymore. And the biggest way that creators are seeing this is that their content isn't on the explore page anymore. Super strange. I mean, cue the sci-fi music, right? Because it's like, now you see me, now you don't. And I wanted to get to the bottom of this because I think that it's such a hot topic that will continue to exist because people are still experiencing it, right? So I did some research and I found out that shadow banning itself, as we know it from the stance of creators saying that Instagram is maliciously taking people off of the explore page, does not exist. It doesn't, fam. Sorry. I don't want to be the bearer of bad news. I don't want to be the person that, messes up the conspiracy theory, because I love a good conspiracy theory. But the way that we understand shadow banning is not how it actually happens. And I wanted to make sure that I talked about it so that you all can get a better understanding of what actually happens, right? So, the first thing to take into consideration when you start seeing your content slowly or even suddenly lose steam, the first thing to consider is is your content still following the community guidelines of Instagram, right? I notice with a lot of creators who say that they're shadow banned, they start posting a little wild because they're trying to catch the momentum of all of the content that was doing well. So they start putting up all kinds of things, right? And sometimes that content and the timing of that content doesn't necessarily go with what Instagram is focused on, right? And the hard part of being a creator is keeping up with all these different platforms and what they prioritize. But that's why you have me, right? It's like you listen to Donuts, Coffee, and Tech, I'll tell you what they actually are prioritizing because I'm going to read those documents, right? And I consume a lot of content that really explains it well. That way I can explain it to you well. So the first thing is your content still in alignment with what Instagram finds important, right? That's number one. Number two is, fam, there's so many creators on Instagram that they are randomly picking people's content to put on the explore page, but it's really about a global appeal. So if somebody's page is doing a good job of global appeal and your page has a very niche appeal, it's very likely that some of the audience that was being turned to your content will be turned away because they don't quite fit the niche based off of all the other content that they're engaging with, right? And we know that people change like the seasons when it comes to their interests, the things that they find funny, the things that they actually want to engage with. It all changes on like a daily basis, and it's really hard to keep up with. That's why I tell people, create good content that speaks to your niche and you'll be fine. But it sucks when you make good content and you start noticing that things are changing, right? And last but not least, you may be posting too often. And that is literally one of the things that I saw directly on Instagram's community guidelines when they were talking about the shadow ban, is that you may be in like this purgatory with Instagram where they're trying to figure out like, is this person really giving value to the community, or are they spamming the community, right? Like, and it's not any person that's doing it, it's robots. Obviously it's like computer generated, a machine. We'll just call it a machine. Machines are looking at the content and they're looking at certain things that trigger this idea of being a spam account. So they're looking at a lot of those different things when they're deciding whose content to put in front of whom, right? Ever changing, ever evolving. Instagram's trying to get better at it. So bear with it, right? Like, that's all I'll say about it. But shadow banning, as we think of it, or the way that it's been defined by people who use Instagram, it's not quite that simple. It's not that black and white when it comes to why your account isn't getting steam like it was getting. And if you need more help with this, fam, reach out to me. Like, I am so happy to just help you audit your page to see what's going on. And that's a free service because I just love it. Like, that's just something that I love to do. So make sure you reach out and connect in the fam. See, this is where the shameless plug comes in. Be a part of the fam so that you can get that free service from me. All right. So moving on, we're going to get into the real meat and potato topic that I want to talk about. And that is the idea of being an influencer in 2024. It's super outdated, right? I was reading this really cool article and it was talking about how the age of the influencer has come to an end. Like, it's a wrap. Like, nobody wants to be influenced anymore, especially because it's like a bunch of car salesmen out there. I don't know if you've had that experience. I've definitely had that experience where you go on somebody's page and you're like, oh, they make really dope content. And then every other freaking post is an ad, but the way that they're going about advertising to you is very salesman-like. And it's like, oh, okay, well, do I have to buy things to be here? Because I really just do enjoy consuming the content, right? So the article that I was reading was saying that the shift is happening from the influencer. So then I wanted to add to the conversation by saying, instead of being an influencer, you need to be a disruptor. And I've been using that word for years, fam. years. I had a whole workshop called Who You Calling a Bitch, where I was teaching small business owners, entrepreneurs, content creators, some of my favorite tips and tricks on how to be a disruptor and not be in the sheep class, right? So, the meat and potatoes of this episode and of this season, really, because we have to start making adjustments to our digital marketing strategies and to our monetization plans. If we know for a fact that influencing is not the wave anymore, we have to switch it up, right? So, a theme that you'll see consistently in season 5 is moving away from influencer and moving into disruptor, right? And I got that word from this amazing lady. Her name is Boz. She used to be a CMO for Uber, right? And Apple and a whole bunch of other people. Bazoma St. John is her name, but she's amazing. She talks about being a disruptor. And the whole thing is you want to position yourself as a thought leader in any industry that you're in and just in the spaces that you take up. And when you do that, then when you start telling people about the services or products or even just like the affiliations that you have that you want to share with your community, it has so much more weight, right? It's really hard to get people to buy things from you, whether it's things that you've created or things that you're trying to have an affiliate marketing link to, or like, association with, whatever. If people don't really rock with you, because in this day and age, we're being sold all the time. There are ads everywhere. The other day I was at my friend's house and she has one of those TVs that have, Roku or whatever it is on there. And it's like a moving background. And it used to be really cool because it was like the landscape of the city and these cars would just be driving through and you see like these little billboards and it'd be so super cute because they would advertise the shows that was, that was on the device or whatever. But now the advertisements on the background are actual companies. Like we saw one for, I think it was like Jiffy or something. No, Smuckers. Smuckers, the little sandwiches, the Uncrustables. We saw that in the background. We saw like Pepsi. We saw a bunch of different brands in the background. And it's just like, to what end, friend? To what end do we not have to be sold to? Like, dang, I can't even just have a screensaver on without it trying to pitch me a sell on something, right? Like, it's overwhelming. It's overstimulating. And your community has had enough. All these online communities have had enough. So the best way to go about selling things, because you have to sell something in order for you to make money, is to build a community and build trust and make sure that whatever you're selling, you're ethical in the way that you're presenting your things. And I did a whole episode last season about monetization and how you need to be building your community over everything, fam. It has been the bread and butter of digital marketing, online marketing, since its inception. If you don't build a strong foundation in your community, you will fizzle out fast. I've seen it. I've experienced it. I've been on all of the ends of this, whether it was a person in the community and like stepping away because I didn't want to be a part of this big sales pitch that felt like a pyramid scheme, right? Or on the other side, as the business owner who was pleading and like begging people to buy things because I was in desperation and needed people to still feed the machine so that my business could still operate. Like, I've been on both sides. So, long story short, the real deal for this year and going forward is you want to build your online community to be strong enough to trust you when you are offering products, services, or affiliate links, right? The other part of that, though, when I say be a disruptor and I say be a thought leader, that means that you have to take into consideration your community when you are offering things. You can't just offer bullshit anymore, fam. That's just not gonna cut it. That's not the wave. And I've seen a lot of people online, these content creators who are online creating content around BS things, and they're like, oh, you need to, use this, use my code so you can get X% off, blah, 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 blah. It's faded out. That's whack. It's whack. It's super whack. You have to take into consideration your community when you start taking on these brand deals. And that sounds wild. It does, because your rent is due on the first. So you need to be closing these deals, you know? But the truth of the matter is, if you get a brand deal and somebody's like, hey, we need X amount of engagement on all these posts, we're going to pay you because we have good faith that your community is strong, and you can't deliver, that's even worse than going out in these streets and offering BS, right? Your rent won't be paid next month because you'll get a reputation of not being able to deliver on these deals. So let's cut the crap out and really get down to the nitty gritty, which is building your online community. Build up your foundation so that no matter what, you are going to be straight, right? That's number one. Number two, this idea of being a disruptor, being a thought leader, being a person who steps out of their comfort zone and pick things that may seem scary or may seem out of your normal area of expertise for the sake of serving your community, right? It sounds wild because a lot of people will tell you, oh, well, just stick to what you know. What you know may be limited, right? I want you to stretch yourself out a little bit and go down these rabbit holes and ask your community, what do they want to see from you, fam? Because I guarantee you, they might have better ideas than what you would come up with because they are in tune to your brand. That's something, right? You may be too close to the fire, and because you're playing it safe and not being a disruptor, you are losing out on great opportunity with your community and also with the money. Don't leave money on the table. Don't do that. What are we talking about, right? So, all that to say, we're really focusing this season on getting you to disruptor level so that you can kill it online, be the best version of yourself, be out here just doing the damn thing, right? Like, we are working on that in season 5. Season 5 is dedicated to that. So everything's going to be geared towards that in most of the topics that we talk about. But the other part of this is I want you to feel encouraged to be authentic, to be real, to be creative, fam. Like, I said a quote the other day and people went crazy. I said, everybody, not everybody. I didn't say everybody. Let me reframe, because I don't want to, say something and folks be like, oh, well, everybody. Let's not do that. What I said was, people are calling themselves content creators, but no one is being creative. And I stand by that because you see a lot of copy and paste going on, right? And I want to challenge you to be a disruptor. I want you to be creative, fam. I want you to go above and beyond what you have normally done. If you are already doing content right now and you're saying, okay, it's cool, it's doing this thing, whatever, I want you to look at it and say, how can I make this better? What would really take this over the top, right? How can I show up more as myself? And how can I provide for my community? That's what a disruptor is to me. Somebody who's looking at it from this eagle-eye vision of like, all right, what's next, right? And I want that for you because you deserve to have what's up there and not just what's right here at your eyesight, right? I really, really want that. And that's what this season is going to be dedicated to. But before I spill the beans on all the stuff that's in the season and all that stuff like that, which I'm not going to on this episode. Haha. That means you have to keep listening to the episodes this season, right? The next segment is the hack of the day, right? Because one thing that I noticed too about my community, and this is just what folks have been saying to me and writing me about and sending me messages about, is that people really do miss my social media hacks and my life hacks. So I'm like, bet, we're going to get into that. Every episode, I'm going to have a different hack for y'all because I have plenty up my sleeve. Plenty. Don't trip. The hacker in me is very alive and well, and she is looking for different ways to make your life easier. So we're going to get into it. Today's hack goes into what we're talking about being a disruptor, but more on the side of when you post things. One of the biggest hacks that I tell my clients, my friends, and I do myself is engage with your community before you post. And a lot of people are like cross-eyed when I say that, right? They're like, what do you mean engage? Like, I engage with them. I like when they, comment on my stuff. Honey, that's not real engagement. I don't know if you know that. That's not real engagement. I mean, kinda. Liking a message, that's cute. But let's say you responded to the message. Now it pops up in their notifications and now you're back on their radar, right? The other thing is the Instagram algorithm is looking at conversations as better engagement, enriching engagement in the community. So therefore, when you have engaging conversation, you're making it to where Instagram is looking at your posts with more validity because you actually engaged online. The secret's out. You have to engage before you post, fam. If you want it to perform well, I literally just put a post out about gaming because I have a trifecta going on my pages now. We got a new page. Shameless plug, Dannielle J Gaming. But I put a post out and I basically did all the things that I tell my clients to do. Engage, make sure you tag folks, put a location, do all the little stuff, whatever, right? That thing got 1,200 views. 1,200 plays in the first day. First day. And this is a new type of content that my audience is not used to seeing from me at all, right? Also, it's on a brand new page that has no followers, none. And they got 1,200. And you might be saying, well, that's because you got a lot of people that follow you. No, fam. Nuh-uh. I am going to say that it is solely because I engaged before I posted. That's the only thing that really was like, push it over, right? I engaged with people, my usual suspects. I, interacted with them, but I also went down my timeline and start commenting on people's posts that I don't necessarily engage with on a regular basis. Guess who looked at the video? I mean, it blows it out the water. So your hack for today, do this one thing, right? It's one thing you could do. And you can start off small. You could just, engage with a few, folks. You don't have to go crazy. Like I went crazy. I did it with like 100 people or something it was over 100 for sure. Like there's just no way. I dedicated like an hour to just, commenting or whatever. You don't have to do that. Do a couple of minutes, see what that does, and report back. Let me know how that works out for you, because I guarantee you it will help tremendously on the performance of your posts, right? I'm just saying. If it don't work, let me know that too, because it worked for me, honey. And that post is still performing right now. And, here's the other thing. That post, because I'm using it as a case study, that post has more people who are not following my page engaging with it than people who are following my page now. Now it's shifted. So at first, it was like the folks who follow me and who typically engage with my content and the folks that I engaged with before I posted it was like the huge percentage. So my ratio was like 2-to-1 people who follow me versus people who don't follow me. Now it's switched. And we're going to talk about that on another episode of like, what does that even mean? What can I do with that? Right? Like, so stay tuned for the rest of this season. I am so happy to be back. I am so excited for all that is coming. And I think that we're going to keep this party going in all the different ways. We'll have guests on there now and, just continue with the hacks and everything. Thank you. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I am so appreciative for everyone who listens in and folks who send me suggestions and have ideas for things I should cover. Make sure that we're connected on all the different platforms. Like I said, the Dannielle J on Instagram, on Twitter, on Twitch. I'll have my Discord in my Instagram page. So if you want to become part of the fam that way, it'll be there. And make sure that you look at this replay on YouTube so that if there's anything that you missed, you can get it there, right? All right, y'all. I got to head out, but I am so glad that you were here. Thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, keep on trucking along and have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day. All right? Mwah. Bye.